Though the contents of this program provide information taught by certified firearm training instructors on how to properly carry and discharge firearms, do not attempt this at home. All gun handlers should seek personalized training programs in their area to properly learn how to safely carry and operate firearms. Contact your local law enforcement or NRA agency to find certified training instructors in your area.
If I was home alone with my daughters and someone broke into my home right now, tonight, I don't feel like I would be able to do anything.
I think everybody was kind of afraid.
For the past 12 weeks, we've watched on as Bill Davison and his staff at Tac Pro Shooting Center have taken on the challenge of training 9 greenhorn gun handlers from across the U.S.
Ready? Up.
Now, after the class is over, we'll be visiting each student months after the course to see how they're doing today. Have they kept up with the training Bill and his team have provided? We will find out on today's Conceal and Carry School.
Conceal and Carry School is brought to you by Ruger, rugged, reliable firearms. Conceal and Carry School is brought to you by
Insight Technology, built for battle. And by Blackhawk, honor as a way of life.
Welcome to Conceal and Carry School. We've brought 9 students together and have put them through an intense tactical handgun class in the heart of Texas. Though each individual story is unique, they have all found personal empowerments in their own separate ways. Today we'll say goodbye to our 9 brave students and wish them a good and safe tomorrow.
Over the course of the past 12 weeks, we've played witness to 9 courageous individuals who've overcome their personal fear of firearms and found inner peace with their victimizations from the past. Early on, Sarah was the least enthusiastic about starting the course. 1 year after being the victim of an armed robbery, Sarah Mensance decided to take a daring leap of faith to overcome her personal fear of handguns.
I'm trying to keep an open mind, but at the same time, I do have those apprehensions. The one experience I have had involving a handgun was horrible.
A lot of incidents that we help people get through here, if they'd have come to train before the incident would probably have never happened and they wouldn't be a statistic.
When I first picked up my handgun, I was a lot more nervous than I thought I would be.
This is just another piece of machinery that you will use for your own good. It's not something mystical or magical.
This is going to be the first time I'm ever going to shoot a gun. I feel like I'm coming in this with absolutely no experience. Our class on the range today, I was shooting the target and I was doing pretty well. I was really proud of myself.
For Timothy Leon, the course became an overwhelming hell that nearly drove him to the point of abandoning the class and returning home.
I'm like, oh man, this isn't gonna work. I gotta get it together here. I was feeling pretty poor, and I'm going, oh no, I'm gonna just have to go back to Denver and just say, you know what, I tried, but it didn't work.
Though you might not know it looking at him, Timothy had been stripped of his confidence back in the summer of 1983.
I have been a victim of a hate crime about 27 years ago, actually.
Even here at the course, Timothy's victimization was still impacting his personal confidence. Gradually, the training started to pay off for Tim, and he found the strength to push through to the end of the course.
I think Timothy really found that internal strength to protect himself, to protect his family. He made a decision.
When we returned,
It scared the hell out of me. It brought me as close to those feelings that I've ever had since the incident. It's been almost a year.
all that and more on today's episode of Conceal and Carry School. Welcome back. Though many of the students had a lot of positive things to say about the course after it was completed, not all of the students felt confident about what they were doing during the course.
When I couldn't pull back the slide, I was frustrated and I felt very weak.
Lynn Forsell took several days on the range to finally begin to understand how to shoot her weapon accurately.
One of my concerns is that I'm left-handed and I'm also right-eyed, so I think that might slow me down just a tad.
Lori Potosky has been working for a gun manufacturer for more than 4 years.
I don't want to be front page news. I feel these are the steps I need to take to make sure that I can protect myself.
Now living on her own in the big city, she was pressured to take the course. Was it worth her time?
I've definitely become more aware of my surroundings. I think that came from the class, but living in a place that's known for crime like Springfield is, you kind of have to make that lifestyle change if you're going to live there.
Howie was the most enthusiastic to get started on the course.
I'm just ready to get a handgun. When do I actually get a gun? I mean, I don't want to be overconfident or come off cocky, but I think I'm going to do pretty well today.
He quickly realized just how much more he had to learn to be successful out on the range.
I was definitely hoping that I would do better grouping-wise today than I actually did, but I think I'll get better.
Michelle started with some very real concerns about her ability to handle the gun.
I only have one bone in my left hand, so I'm afraid of not being able to physically hold the gun in the right way.
Michelle had some physical capabilities that we had to work with. She had some trouble with her shoulder, and so we had to really work with her hand position.
After only a few days, she had undergone a huge transformation.
If I was home alone with my daughters and someone came in, I would not hesitate to do everything to defend them, including taking the life of the person who was threatening me and my children.
Next thing I knew, the look of determination on her face, I knew that she was in it. Her mind was there, she was in it, and she wasn't looking back.
Maury Carlson didn't find the course challenging enough until they moved past the fundamentals.
If we're not moving, if everything's static, I was doing okay. But by noon on day 2, I was, I think, with everybody else. Can't do two things at once.
However they felt about the different challenges, there was one course lesson they all talk about to this day.
The bank scenario.
The scenario. The last day we did the scenario training, which brought me back down to the real world.
It scared the hell out of me. It brought me as close to those feelings that I've ever had since the incident. It's been almost a year, and I've never found myself in any situation where I was that scared.
We had all the instruction, all the tools, we all knew what we were doing, but you get into that real life scenario and it just, you realize why you have to practice.
It kind of brought everything that we had talked about from the classroom and the range together.
Get away from my car, please. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, it ain't none of your business. Don't step on each other. Hey, leave me alone. What? Oh, man, you got a gun. Come on. Hey, what are you doing? What? I'm going to ask you to step back again, and if you do not, get on your knees, sir. Oh.
We found in the middle part.
Okay.
We got between them.
Yes.
And whether we think we're protecting them or not is immaterial.
Okay.
They're not with us.
Get back, mother. You're walking right up into our deal here, man. This is my argument. You. That's right. No. That's right. Come on. You. Shoot.
My heart was racing, adrenaline was pumping, and I think I was probably shaking like a leaf.
Jennifer, what are you doing? One more step. Take one more step. Think I'm kidding? Back up. Yeah, I did.
The scenario just kind of brought it all home that even though I love shooting and comfortable having the gun on me here, coming back to my real life, I had to step back and realize I'm not ready to carry concealed yet.
It helped me learn that I need much more training. I need training in a lot of different areas.
Coming up, the students give us their first impressions of Bill Davison.
If you did anything wrong, he let you know.
He's a man who commands your attention.
And later, we'll see where the students are now, right after this. Welcome back. The 9 students who took the training course taught by Bill Davison and his staff didn't know what they had in store for them when they first arrived. Most with little to no training, they had much more to overcome than the simple distance of the trip.
I would say 2/3 of the class didn't really want to be involved with the gun.
I have a fear of using the gun because I don't feel I know how to use it.
I have never done anything like this in my life.
I have absolutely no experience with guns.
I am totally not confident with the firearm.
It's a big step to say, I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for my children, and I'm responsible for everything that happens and everything that fails to happen.
But it wasn't long after the students arrived in Dallas that they began to find a common bond with their classmates.
Meeting the other participants in the class was one of the best parts of the entire week.
Everyone was first trying to get to know each other, and you could tell there were some people that, you know, were real quiet.
I was definitely the little weird, nervous kid out of the bunch.
I would say that at least the first 2 days, I was just processing so much.
I was really skeptical about who was going to be taking the class with me.
I didn't know how we'd get along. Everybody was completely different.
Whoa! Magazine out! 1 round! Stand by! Out!
It wasn't until we started shooting that we started opening up and sharing our stories and getting a lot more personal. And once that happened, it snowballed from there.
By the end of the week, we were all like a family. We still all communicate and talk to each other now.
Everybody had a totally different story, came from all different parts of the country.
Those are the types of things that you learn about people, and you form friendships.
Each one of them are very special, and I believe that they represented something in my life, with their personalities, with what they had been through maybe.
There was such a great group of people, and we had some fun times.
Upon meeting Bill for the first time, the students' impressions were very different.
Bill was very intimidating.
He's a man who commands your attention.
But really, he's very easy to talk to. He made sure that you felt comfortable around him so that you could ask him lots of questions. But at the same time, he was very serious. If you did anything wrong, he let you know.
Finger off trigger. If I see that on there again, you know what I'm going to do, don't you? Bring this over and I'm going to cut it off at the joint so you don't have a finger anymore and I don't have to worry about it. All right. Okay? Now put that on TV, I'll spank you.
And Bill, he was going to cut off my finger if I didn't keep it off that trigger.
Bill's not the kind of guy, I think, that you're going to go out and have sushi with. But if you want to learn firearms and firearm safety, I think this is definitely the guy you'll want to come to. There's no doubt about that.
Even though I was in a class with people who'd never even handled a firearm before, I never felt concerned for my safety at the Tac Pro Shooting Center.
You could tell they chose the right person to train us.
I just knew that he was going to take care of us. I knew I was going to be safe because he knows what he's doing, and he's not going to let you do something that's going to put yourself in harm's way.
I really enjoyed his teaching methods. I learned a lot in just 5 days.
Bill Davison knew his class was coming in with little to no defensive training, and that if he were going to succeed, he was going to need to bring in his best instructors to get the class through the ropes in 7 days.
My instructors are looking at me and going, this is going to be hard. And I answered it the same way I always do. It is our job to train them to be safe and survive with their weapon.
For civilians training in the United States, it's difficult to find training as extensive as that which was offered to the students here at the Tac Pro Shooting Center.
Normally, you're not going to get this depth of experience in a week anywhere.
It was a week long of intense information.
It was just almost like a boot camp. You're just immersed, and it was like from sun up till sundown. We were just training 24/7.
I'm very proud of them. They came a long way in a very short period of time. Nobody got shot.
It was interesting watching people's psyches change from Lynn, who didn't want to hold it and handle it at all, to feeling very comfortable with it throughout the course of the week.
It definitely has changed my mindset. I find myself walking down the street and playing the game Bill taught us. What would you do if the fight started now?
Sarah has talked about guns since her return from Texas. She seemed to come back a lot more confident in herself and confident in her surroundings.
When I came back from Texas, I felt more confident. With or without the gun, I just feel more confident.
I am a different person now because I'm designing my life to make sure that I am protecting my family.
It's just made him a lot more comfortable with the surroundings.
After he got back, he had a newfound confidence. If there's a situation, he knows how to handle it.
What's different between now and then is I was being more operated by fear rather than education and knowledge.
Up next on Conceal and Carry School, the students have completed the course. What training are they doing now?
I have a much better mindset and I have more awareness.
Conceal Carry School is brought to you by Cheaper Than Dirt, America's ultimate shooting sports discounter, by Otis, the most advanced gun care system in the world, and by TN Marketing and the Personal Defense Network.
Welcome back. On this episode, we've been tracking down the students months after they had finished their coursework at Bill Davison's Tac Pro Shooting Center.
Well, it's been 2 weeks. You know, I'm back to my normal routine. I mean, you go right back to life. It's just now I have a different aspect of it is all.
Sarah Vincent had been mugged at gunpoint. Today, Sarah's got a new perspective on her life.
I've been back in Denver about 2 weeks, and I did a complete 180. I want to go shooting. I loved the experience, and I really didn't think I would.
Lori, too, has found a new personal empowerment in Bill Davison's course.
I know today I have a much better mindset and I have more awareness that I thought I had already been working on to my everyday routine.
Michelle Rasky, too, found a new level of inner personal peace, but in a completely different way than the others.
I've gone from being a person who didn't think that I could hold a gun, fire a gun, protect myself, to a person who has completely come to the other spectrum.
Bill Davison might not have agreed with Timothy's actions, but the results were undeniable.
What he needs to do is understand that he can only protect himself. He's not to get involved unless it's a threat to his life.
I'm not the same guy I was 3 weeks ago because I'm a more educated person.
And even though the other students at the course, Mari, Howie, Andy, or Lori, had never been the victim of a crime before, they each had their own reasons for making the time to attend classes at Tac Pro.
If a situation were to arise, would you know how to handle yourself, or would you just crumble and be a sitting duck? I think before I went to Texas, I was a sitting duck. My family was a sitting duck.
Guns are a part of America, but not every state follows the same conceal and carry laws.
In order to get a pistol permit in Massachusetts, I'm going to have to take a class. Once I take that class and I pass it, I'm going to be able to apply to my local police department, kind of make my case for why I want the level of permit that I do, and I'm going to want the highest level because I'm going to want the option to personally carry.
And unfortunately, it takes between 9 and 18 months to get a pistol permit in the state of New York.
Ruger gave us a gun, which is so awesome. I picked out my personal one because I'm already very attached to it.
Right away, you get that friction from the people that don't believe in the guns, and so I start talking to them and saying, you know what, that's how I was before I went on this.
Through the actions of this course, Bill Davison and his team have succeeded in their quest to properly train 9 students with little to no defensive training.
I'm so pleased. You know, it was really hard for me to come and do this, but it's made me a better person.
I am more than proud of them. Today, when we saw them last, without a doubt, they were happier, more confident, and without a doubt, you could see that they knew they'd achieved something in their lives that was something they didn't think they would ever do.
There's something that scares you. Don't let that be something that hovers over you. Take that fear and walk right through it.
From all of us here, thank you for taking the time to watch the series on personal empowerment and self-protection. We hope it has been an enlightening and educational experience. All the best.
And her, she hit the floor. Next thing you know, Shorty got low, 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 low. Yeah.